Dave, it's your second time here.
Are we filming now?
Totally. So you were on episode number 11.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Wow, 2 years.
Wow. And you're back.
I'm back.
But you have a different story. Which I actually, like, the only thing I really know and what we can share, again, from, like, a public knowledge is there was a 60-minute episode. 60 minutes, like, I don't know, late last 2023, right?
No, it was
early
about 2 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it called?
So, I guess to give you background, it was a 2020 episode, and they highlighted a doctor. His name was Dr. Ali Rezai, and right. He was actually one of the pioneers who helped DBS early on. DBS, performing DBS surgeries, and still does so. And he's helped perfect it. But the 2020 episode was about MRI focused high intensity ultrasound.
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's totally it. Welcome to The Secret Life of Parkinson's, a podcast created by people living with Parkinson's to help break the stigma of a disease no one likes to talk about. Now here are your hosts, Jessica Krauser and Brian Baker. That the same thing, because we did do an episode on HIFU, right? We did an episode on high intensity focused ultrasound.
Okay.
That's where they go in and they...
It's non-invasive.
Right, but you do an MRI and they're almost, I hate to say, like they're burning something in your brain.
Exactly what they're doing. They're burning the nerve endings in there.
But that's already been, that's out, but what is he doing that's different?
Well, his main it's helping with Parkinson's, but the only thing it helps with Parkinson's is tremor. It doesn't do anything else. But what they've been successful with that, with tremor and essential tremors, but what they've discovered that it's actually helping really well with is Alzheimer's, early onset Alzheimer's, and addiction. They can actually go in there and hit those spots that cause addiction, and they've had great success with that.
So you had the opportunity to be a part of it, right?
Yeah. Well, I went kind of hoping that I could do that because I know DBS is kind of the thing that everybody's going and doing right now. I really do not want to do DBS. The whole thought of it. And then I also, as you know, I'm a scuba instructor and scuba diver. Mm-hmm. And what I found out is I can't scuba dive anymore if I do that. I can go down to 33 feet, which is 2 atmospheres, which really, I might as well just be snorkeling then. So it's really going to end my scuba career, which is a big issue for me. So I'm really trying to stay away from DBS. So I thought going there and investigating this would be a really good option for me. What I did find out then at that point was that it only really they can only control tremor with it. Tremor is what everybody sees with Parkinson's, right? The outside world, they see tremor. They don't see all the other things that we go through.
Right.
And what I realized just in talking with them, and we can talk more about my experience with them, is that although tremor, I'm tremoring right now because I'm a little nervous, but tremor is really not my biggest issue. Actually, dystonia is dystonia and insomnia are like my 2 biggest issues. The dystonia is just off the charts. So really that ultrasound was not going to help it.
Are they looking to get it to help? Because I'm assuming if they're going in fixing different parts of the brain for Alzheimer's and addiction, that there's got to be something in there that would.
I have not heard that.
Okay.
We talked a lot about. I met with Dr. Rezai. I actually met with his whole team for two full days. We did 2 full days of testing.
And this isn't clinical trial, right? It's just
it's actually just basically how they treat their patients.
Okay,
this was at West Virginia
University. So this was your when he went in for DBS, he had to do all this pre-stuff?
Yeah.
That's what this is?
They did that. It was just like a normal, first meeting with consultation with all the team, but they also, while I was there, because it is 3.5 hours away, they did all the pre-DBS stuff just to give me a marker, and that I was a prime candidate for it, that when I was ready to do it, if I'm ever ready to do it, and basically, well, what they told me was that the testing that they did would be good for 2 years.
Oh, good.
And after 2 years, they'd want to do the testing again to make sure there was no issues creeping up. So yeah, that was basically it. But I spent 2 full days with them, and it was care that I have never experienced before. I met with Dr. Razai. I actually met with his top neurologist, Anne Murray. I met with her first, and I actually met with her for 2 hours. And she, so I went in there unmedicated because she wanted to see how I was at first thing in the morning. So I'd gone from the night before unmedicated. And then partway through, she had me take my medication. And that was the interesting part. My wife was with me also. And 20 minutes after I took the medication, she said, well, I noticed that how the medication is helping you. And it was interesting because I didn't feel it. She noticed it, my wife noticed it, but I didn't feel it. I didn't feel any different. And that was one of the things that she had asked me early on was, how do I feel on my on and off moments? And I said, well, I forget to take my medication all the time because I don't know that I don't have a difference. And the reason I wasn't feeling a difference is because I wasn't getting enough medication.
Oh, okay.
So she, since then.
But wait, I have a question though.
Yeah, sure.
Were you not getting enough because, like we talked about this with Dr. Patel. Like I tell my neurologist, like I probably overtell, like I overshare. So I was saying like, I feel like my medication is changing or upping all the time, but it's because I'm like really telling her everything. And not everybody, like they might just say, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. So when you would go in, like, how long have you had Parkinson's?
2015, I was diagnosed.
Okay.
So
you
9
said
years.
15 years. I was
And
like,
we talked a lot about this with Dr. Patel, but you were resistant to, I think, weren't you, to taking medication?
Oh, yeah, I was resistant right up front.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 years before I started, 3.5 years before I started taking
So I guess back to what
meds.
she was, was it you were under medicated because of
you didn't know what
you
good felt
weren't
like?
telling the doctor what
Yeah.
you needed? Or?
I felt like I was sharing everything that I was needing to share. What I got from Dr. Murray was her prying into
Like what? Like
just asking me things that I didn't think about, how I'm feeling. And I mean, not just saying, how are you feeling? And then me trying to expand. She was getting into details. I mean, it was 2 months or a month ago or so. I can't remember exact.
yeah.
But, I mean, spent 2 hours with her. I'd never spent 2 hours with a neurologist.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever.
And she just really pried into it and talked a little bit to my wife and stuff like that. So it was very, I mean, I'm not sure how to explain it, but really digging deep and asking questions that, from her experience, questions that she needed to ask.
Are they questions that you would never have thought to piece together with Parkinson's?
I think, yeah. And I can't give you examples, but I mean, since then we've upped my meds, not a lot. I mean, we started with I was taking 3 times a day. Now I'm taking 4, and we upped it half a pill. So I'm basically taking 2 4 times a day, and I was taking 1.5 3 times a day.
Okay.
And with that, I do notice on and off moments.
Yeah. I didn't have on and off moments. People used to talk about
Not in the
on and off.
beginning. I didn't know.
And then, but when they hit, I was like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
This is what it is. And it's interesting now because if I'm late taking, and I have it on my phone, the alarm on my phone, like most of us do, and I might be in the middle of something and then I forget for an hour. Oh, I notice it. And then it takes a half hour to 40 minutes for it to kick in, the new one. Yeah. So you've missed that, time. The big thing for me, though, that I've noticed just recently is that the dystonia, I work out pretty much every day. I work out every day, early, every day of the week. and we just upped my meds for the morning to see if this helps the dystonia. But toward the end and after my workouts, the dystonia on my feet, my toes it can get very painful.
For how long?
Are they lifting up or curling under?
Curling in, under,
Yeah.
curling in.
See, mine were going up.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, mine get so bad, even if I take my shoe off, just a sock, the pressure of the sock. I got to take my socks off just to get my feet to relax. So we just upped it a half, so I'm 2.5 for my first dosage in the morning to see how that helps. So we're still playing with it because, like I said, it's only been about a month. So
Yeah.
But the interesting thing for me, and it kind of fits with this group, is that she had said to me that she thinks the only thing, I mean, it's been 9 years since I was diagnosed. I remember symptoms back. My wife will tell me she can remember back in the early, like 2005, 2006, noticing things with me. But one of the things, I did resist medication at first for like 3 years. And, but what I did not resist was the exercise. I took that to heart. And I hit it right from the very beginning. I hit it really hard. And she said that's really the thing that's kept me. I mean, I'm still working full time and doing a lot of stuff.
But you retired.
No.
Oh my God.
No, I do. I've slowed down a lot, but I'm still running a business and everything. So, but she said the workouts was absolutely what's kept me, going.
That's good to know because I kind of freaked out a little bit the other day. And I don't know where I heard this from, but I feel like somebody's mentioned your first 10 years, especially with young onset, like your first 10 years are going to be your best years. Well, I mean, that makes sense because any year prior to where you are always going to be your best, but that those first 10 years are critical. So but the fact that you're 9 years in, and I know you said because everybody always says, oh, but you look good. I'm like, but I don't feel.
Right.
You can't see
the
tension of the
me.
muscles and all that stuff. But so, from a feeling standpoint, do you even feel like you're close to 10 years in, or?
No, I don't.
The exercise.
I'm just starting to feel a little bit more of the symptoms. People will say, how you doing? And I always say Parkinson's from time to time rears its ugly head.
Yeah.
I can feel it. We all go through that where there's days where you just got to hide in the basement, The exercise for me, because I learned early that it was, one of the best things we can do. And the medicine, one of the neurologists said to me early on or after about 3 years of not taking medicine, he said it's like having diabetes. You wouldn't rob your body of insulin, right?
Right.
So that really kind of hit home for me. So that's what made me start taking it, because your body's craving that. But the other thing that's interesting about exercise for me is that if we know that it's the best thing we can do to slow down the symptoms, we would not take our medicine, right?
Right.
So why would we not work out every day? I mean, the kind of the theme is 3 days a week, but why?
It should be every day.
It should be every day. I just got done reading a book called, I actually have it on my phone. It was, Younger Tomorrow. It's not a Parkinson's book. It's just, and it's basically when you turn like 55, 50, you should start working out every day. And it's just what we need to do to keep our bodies moving, feeling good. And I mean, Melissa would tell you I've dealt with a lot of injuries, and I still. And the other interesting thing too with that is that a lot of my injuries has happened on the left side, which is the side that was first affected with Parkinson's, which I never even put two and two together there. But I was even talking to someone in the gym today who was dealing with an injury, and there's always stuff we can do. We can always modify. We can always adapt. There's always something we can do, whether it's if we have to sit in a chair and do it, there's always something we can do. Yeah. And there's just, again, you wouldn't stop taking your medicine for a day or 2 days or 3 days. So why wouldn't you work out every day if that's going to really help you?
Well, and that's the thing. And unfortunately, I mean, there are barriers, and some of the barriers to exercise, which, I mean, everybody can exercise in their own home, but, you know, not everybody's equipped with that or knowing what to do. But it's like some of the barriers, from my perspective, is, you know, like an insurance company. Like if I get prescribed a medication, it's, you know, hopefully covered by insurance, or at least some of it's covered by insurance. But exercise is not currently. So it's like, okay, if that was something that we can overcome and to really prescribe, like, you know, help yourself slow the progression, and that would, you know, hopefully make you less symptomatic and having to get more meds and stuff like that later, which costs insurance companies even more.
Well, the when you talk about that, the weird thing is a lot of times insurance companies will pay for OT and PT, which I know is different than maybe that, but they won't pay for like a gym membership.
Right. Or like even because if it's Parkinson specific, like what we go to, it's like, you know. Yeah. Anyways, but did you want to say something?
No.
Okay.
You were talking about the first 10 years. That's what I lost my train of thought on. I actually have kind of adapted the theme or the phrase that it's your honeymoon period, because during that time I felt like the last 9 years that I've been able to pretty much hide the symptoms. I can't hide them from myself, but I can hide them from the outside world. And you ask, you know, do I feel like that 10 years? It's getting harder and harder to hide those symptoms. And I think that's also why exercise is also so important, because I think that makes it, lets you take it longer into your diagnosis, that you're able to can keep doing what you've always been doing.
Well, that's the thing. So the hiding it is one thing, but from like I'm thinking from like a travel standpoint, or do you feel like you're limited?
Oh no, we travel.
So it's just we
travel all over the world still. Yeah.
Which is great, because it's like I mean I can.
I also have a wife who's a travel agent, so that helps.
I know, that's
she
so
has
nice.
Everything taken care of. She just tells me where to go and when to be there. But I do not. I mean, she just got back from Europe. I didn't go on that trip, but and it's not because of the Parkinson's; it's because of work. But I wouldn't hesitate. We're going to Alaska next year, you know, for a couple of weeks.
Okay, good.
I know you got a big trip coming up, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
She's been there 3 times. I've been there twice.
Now I just know to pack a whole bottle of carbidopa levodopa, because I ran short when I was in Florida.
Yeah. So no, I can tell you that as of right now, I am not limited. I have not limited myself from anything that I normally do. I mean, does it make it's not as easy as it used to be? You know, things are a lot harder. You have to be more. I don't know what the word is. You have to be more forceful with your body to get yourself through some things, but I still do everything I used to do.
So what, I mean, is there anything else that you learned when you were down there that you think is important?
Yeah, it was pretty, well, like I said, I spent 2 days there. We did 2 hours with the neurologist, his head neurologist. We did a neuropsychologist, which I think you guys did for DBS, right? You had Correct. It was like 3 hours.
I actually did one. I didn't, not the DBS one, but like I just had one done because I was like, I knew, like people at work were saying like, no, you're fine. I'm like, no, it's just not working, and so it's like I needed that as like a validation. So that's a long test, though. Yeah,
and I mean, I went right through it, and when I got the results back, it was like 2 weeks later. We did a telemedical meeting on it, and everything was actually above average on everything, and I had no signs of any kind of pre-Alzheimer's or dementia or anything like that. There's absolutely no signs of that, so that was good. I still like you. I still need that validation because, I mean, getting things from here to here is very difficult. I know the word I want to say, but I can't get that word out.
Yeah.
So
what's like your next step? Like, do they have to approve you to do, or like, are you going to do this high infusion?
No, because like I said, all it does is tremor. So I'm not going to, if I do anything, it'll end up probably being DBS, but I'm hoping that's way down in the future.
Yeah.
Able to control it, get my meds, tuned in where they need to be. And just keep hitting it hard on the exercise and go from there.
Do they do the high focused ultrasound at most hospitals, places, or is it only specific?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it was a pretty intense. We did that. We did the like I said, the psychologist. We did I met with Dr. Razai, who was on 60 Minutes. And I was a little nervous meeting him. I thought it would be just a cursory in and out. And he spent about a half hour with me, talking to me, specifically about DBS, kind of calming my fears of it. We did the MRI. I'm not claustrophobic. We did an MRI that was in a machine that the tube was so small when you went in it, you had to squeeze in like this. And that was a little bit unnerving. But we did that. We got a tour of their neurology building while we were there. It's pretty impressive, actually. And you wouldn't, I hate to say it, but you'd expect that at the Harvards or the Princetons or even the Ohio States. And it was pretty impressive for West Virginia University. It was pretty neat to see.
That's even how I feel like with, Ohio Health, Ohio State, like they have impressive units and I don't want to say for being Ohio, but it's, you hear the big names and you don't always think of the other ones. So it's like, making sure people don't discount, all these other areas that could be beneficial. Cause I know it's hard to come by a movement disorder specialist.
Yeah. And we all have our horror stories of I went through, I think I was with 4 different ones. My first one was, and that's why this one probably seems so great. My first one was he actually took a personal phone call to his son while he was in my exam room. And then he walked out and came back in with a prescription and said, "You have Parkinson's. I'll see you in 6 months." And that was my initial diagnosis.
That's my go-to story when some people are like,
It's incredible because there's just so many Parkinson's patients that have had that. That have had that experience, and it's just.
I love the one about the writing a script for Carboleva and just saying take as many pills until you feel better.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? That's
a horrible idea.
Yeah, it's not good, unfortunately, but there are some really good ones out there, and you just keep going until you find the one that fits you the best. Everybody has their.
It is. I mean, because a lot of people do travel for this, and I always bring up my women's group, but one of them, I can't remember what state she's located in, but she was like, I'm not happy with the bedside manner of this MDS, and she's like, so I want to look for another one, but they're not easy to come by, but I know because Erica, she drives pretty far to go to hers, or was that just DBS?
I think it was mainly just. I'm not sure.
I thought it was for her.
Did Erica have DBS?
Yeah.
Oh, she did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but she had the kind that she didn't have to shave her head. And was she awake?
I thought you were awake on.
Oh no, it was she was sleeping. I thought they put her asleep. I don't know. There's a lot of different options with that now too. But yeah, I'll be interested to see
see how this goes.
But
and travel. I mean, typically you see them every 6 months, so it's really not that big of a deal. And what the neat thing is so we're playing with my meds, and of course she says, on my chart, make sure you keep me posted on it. So about every 2 weeks I keep her posted, and I get immediate response from her.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Within a couple of days, which to me is pretty good.
Yeah,
because they're pretty busy people, and she's right along with me. My biggest, besides DBS, my biggest fear is dyskinesia, and I'd rather deal with the tremors.
Did you ever have it yet?
No.
Okay, so I have it now. You can't tell just yet because I'm not standing up, but if I sit here long enough and get to my, what time is it? Like if I get to my 7 o'clock, my friends just say it's like, it just looks like you can't find a comfortable spot. Okay. So it's not like horrible.
Do they think that's because of the meds?
Because I take 8.
Well, that's what I'm taking now, too, 8.5.
So.
Which still you're little, so.
Well, that's the thing. Like our body, think of body types, and so that's why they give me amantadine. So that's it helps slow it down. But because I remember I was telling you I had so much pain in my shoulder and my elbow, I'd rather deal with the movement than deal with that pain. Yeah. But tremors are, it's different, but that's where.
I've been tremoring this whole time, but usually I can keep that really calm.
It's just because you're in front of cameras.
It's the other thing that's really kind of amazing that people don't understand. I mean, I'm very comfortable sitting with both of you talking to you. I've known you for years, and I mean, this doesn't bother me at all. But even the slightest thing that's abnormal just affects our our bodies more than it typically would.
I mean, I was out with some new friends last night, but some of my old friends, like neighbors, and I was meeting some new people. But again, totally comfortable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like I am.
Yeah, it's just that underlying that you don't even recognize.
Yeah.
Why am I tremoring so bad? But it's getting back to the exercise, and we talk about the gym, and I still think you get your best workout when you're at the gym because, I mean, you're being pushed. You're trying to, I don't know if the word's impress, but you're trying to, I mean, we all look up to her, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to, prove to her that we can do this.
Yeah.
And so I think we work extra hard with that. But, I mean, there's so many things that we can do that aren't in the gym. But I think the mindset is keeping it as it's just a medicine that we have to take every day, just along with the pills. The pills are easy. If we can just take a pill and be done with it, and everything was fine. But I think there's so much more that we need to do to control this.
Yeah. I got to the point where I couldn't take any more pills.
I know. I was getting fatigue of that, but
and I'm sure we're probably all going to get to that point. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to get there.
I physically, because we're about the same time as far as being diagnosed. I have some. I can go back to about 2011, 2012 to symptoms, but diagnosed in 2015. But yeah, I got to the point where I just could. I physically couldn't swallow any more pills.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. The biggest thing for me is the diving. I just don't want to. I can't give it up yet. I do a trip every year to the Caribbean and lead a bunch of people there, and I've been doing it for 15 years. I just don't want to stop yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can make another 5 or 10 at least.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
If anybody can do it, Dave can do it.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Well, this is great.
Thanks.
I really appreciate you coming back on.
Sure.
You have such great stories, and I think, I mean, if anybody walks away with anything, it's exercise is key.
Meet me at the stairs on Sunday morning, 6 o'clock.
I don't want to do that. I've never done
Rain
it.
Rain or shine or snow.
I know. I can't believe you do that. So how many you go up and down?
Well, there's 116 steps, and I was doing 20 with a mile between every 5. That was the peak. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing 15, but I do 10 to 15 push-ups at the top every series or when I go up. So it's like 17 or 1800 steps and 150 to 200 push-ups.
And how old are you?
60. I'll be 63 in July. Got 2 hip replacements.
Oh my God.
Cancer survivor. You just got to do it. Get out there and do it.
Yeah. Poster child. I know. Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being so open. I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, in our last 30 seconds, I'll leave you with this. If you can follow Dave's advice of keep moving, exercise, it is key. And don't be afraid to ask more questions to your doctor. If you feel like you're not getting asked enough or see what's maybe connected, start asking away or find out, what you can do to learn more about what's connected with Parkinson's so you're getting the best quality care that you possibly can.
Self-advocate.
Be your own advocate. Thanks. We'll see you next time.